Sri Pinarayi Vijayan, clear. Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar, clear. But who is UDF's Chief Minister? Any idea? I don't think they have to. Hello all, this is Chandni and welcome back to the Unmasked India. Today we are going to check some exit poll details and the current situation running around. Sri Pinarayi Vijayan, clear. Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar, clear. But who is UDF's Chief Minister? Any idea? I don't think they have to. Every exit poll released this week points in the same direction. Manorama and Seawater says that UDF has 82 to 94 seats. National Survey is 70 to 84. And today's Chanakya 60 to 78. They have got one of the highest predictions game. And then just hours ago, Marnaran Malayali released theirs, which claims that it is one of the most accurate ones. They says UDF 80 to 99 seats, 99 seats in a 140 seat assembly where you need just 71 to govern. That is not a win. That is a mandate that rewrites entire Kerala's political map for the next decade. But buried inside this exit poll, there is something that we need to look onto, or something that people usually misses. Just four factors that explain this result. And that fourth factor is why every single Malayali, no matter which party you side on, you need to know. Because it reveals something UDF has not said publicly, something LDF also doesn't want you calculating it, and something that will determine what Kerala's morning looks like on May 4th. I have one question. If UDF wins Kerala on May 4th, who is the Chief Minister? Ask Kerala who LDF's CM face is. The answer takes 0 seconds. It is of course Pinarayi Vijayan. Ask who NDA is projecting. It is obviously Rajiv Chandrasekhar. It is clear, it is declared. These both on record. Now ask that same question about UDF. What you get is not an answer, you get some trolls maybe, or you get poster wars. And actually, I can see that these kind of trolls are all over near the social media. You get signals leaked into newspapers before they belong anywhere near a headline. You get these names like Ramesh Chinnathala or V.D. Sadishan. And there is another also K.C. Venugopal competing in public, in flex boards, in WhatsApp groups, in Instagram pages for a chair that no one in UDF has officially assigned to anyone. Three names, we have three names. Zero clarity. Days before the result. That is not an internal party dynamics. That is public perception crisis walking straight into a victory. Three names, zero clarity, days before the result. That is not internal party dynamics. That is a public perception crisis walking straight into a victory. Probably. Now let's read these exit polls the way a Malayali voter should read them, not the way the TV panels want you to. Some says 80 to 99, as we said in the early voter list, and Manorama says 82 to 94, and even today's Chanakya, the agency that called Assam, Bihar, which has a higher rate of success prediction. And West Bengal, with near perfect accuracy they had, gives UDF 60 to 78. That lower number from Chanakya is the one nobody is talking about enough, because that range 60 to 78 still puts UDF in power, but it puts them at a thin majority. And a thin majority changes everything about what happens inside the alliance the morning after the results. Now, I have taken an example of Marnadan. He says something that changes this picture completely for BJP. Today's Chanakya expectation list gave BJP 3 to 11 seats. That upper number, that is 11 seats, was making people whisper about a hung assembly scenario. Marnadan kills that conversation. BJP 2 to 4 seats. The hung assembly is off the table now. UDF will govern, but those 21 tied seats, the constituencies that decide whether UDF lands at 80 or 99. Those are not decided yet. And this is where the CM phase silence stops being a political gossip story and starts being an electoral liability. Here is a number. The channel, I think, just a moment. Yeah, it was Maranadan who released that has not received enough attention. It is about KK Shailaja, predicted to lose in Madhamangalam. Let that sit in. The most popular individual face in the entire LDF, the minister who became internationally known during COVID, predicted to lose not by a BJP pollster, not by a Congress newspaper, but by one channel. Minister Bindu predicted to lose in Nalakuda. Minister P. Rajiv predicted to lose in Ernakulam. Minister Roshi Agustin predicted to lose in Idukki. This is not scattered anti-incumbency. This is a systemic collapse at the ministerial level. When the most loved faces of a government lose their own sands or lose their own seats, the message from Kerala's voter is not subtle, it is surgical. It is deliberate, and it makes the scale of what UDF is inheriting. The urgency of answering who is the CM even more critical now. Now let's talk about the signal that moved this from a Congress internal problem to a national party concern. When the Congress High Command reportedly had to intervene in Kerala's CM phase election, they publicly confirmed that parties do not confirm lightly. They confirmed there was something to intervene about. Political parties project unity before elections. They project direction. They project inevitability. The image of a settled leadership is campaign asset. You do not advertise internal disagreement. There will be always problems internally. Yes, of course, we can understand. But when that disagreements are 72 hours from a results, when that disagreements is flying posters and trolls, when an intervention from Delhi becomes public knowledge in Thiruvananthapuram, it becomes the disagreement was too loud to contain. And that is not a rumor being spread by opponents. That is an admission visible to every voter still watching. But the High Command intervention is only the part of the alliance problem. The bigger signal, the one that should concern every UDF voter, came from inside UDF itself. IUML. IUML is not a minor partner in this alliance. They bring seats in constituencies that Congress cannot win alone. They anchor UDF's performance in northern Kerala. They deliver vote shares that hold the coalition's floor in tight races. When voices from IUML circles public signal discomfort about UDF CM space battle. This is no longer an internal Congress matter. This is an alliance message. And alliance messages are spoken publicly even before results always carry a price tag. That price is paid after the results, in negotiations, in cabinet decisions, in decisions made not on merit but on accommodation. The chief minister question that went unanswered before May 4th does not disappear after May 4th. It gets more expensive, more complicated. Now, this is the part of some channels exit poll that stopped me. They identified 4 factors driving this result. Factor 1, strong and visible anti-Pinarayi sentiment across the state, which I earlier told anti-incumbency. Factor number 2, total Muslim vote polarization. So complete that some channels, like which I already told earlier, predicts all 16 Malappuram seats go to UDF, every single one. CPM loses every Muslim majority seat in the state. Factor number 3, the references which I told for those are referred below. You can go and check it. Factor number 3, CPM's own members internally voting to protect the party, not the government, because they believe 5 more years will permanently damage the organization. And factor number four, the expectation among Kerala's voters that if UDF wins, a Naya chief minister will come. It is sad to say, but still, no. Read that again. And out of the references, Marnata Malali, one of Kerala's most watched independent media voices, is saying that people are walking into polling booths marking UDF and walking back out with a specific mental image of who the CM will be. Not because UDF announced it, not because there was a press conference on it, not because there was an authorized declaration, not because the alliance sat together and named their leader. But can you imagine? But because the expectation formed in the silence. When you don't name your CM candidate, Kerala's voter names one for you. And right now, three men are competing in the minds of millions of Malayalis for a chair that UDF has not officially offered to any of them. Voters have already made their assumption. Has UDF made their decision? Because this is neither a win nor a loss. At least they should have a name on it. Because there is where this becomes dangerous. If the voters' assumption matches the eventual CM, the mandate holds it. If it doesn't, the mandate fractures before the government completes its first month. Now, here is what that actually means across all these scenarios. If UDF wins 90 plus seats, the CM's question needs an answer within 48 hours. And whoever is not named CM after a 90-seat mandate carries that as a political scar for the next decade. If UDF wins a narrow majority, that is 71 to 80 seats, the CM question becomes a negotiation. IUML's policy expressed discomfort suddenly has a number attached to it. Venugopal's Delhi proximity suddenly matters more than Sadishan's ground presence. Chenitala's seniority suddenly enters every room. And the voter who walked in expecting a Nair CM, they will be watching. They will be counting. If the Chanakya lower bound materializes, if UDF lands at 60 to 65 seats, then no scenario plays out cleanly. Every alliance seat becomes a leverage point. Every discomfort becomes a demand. Every single exit poll reach. Every seat number, every scenario leads back to the same question that UDF has refused to answer in public. If you win, who's the Kerala's chief minister? Kerala is hours, just hours away from possibly its most significant political shift since 2016. KK Shailaja, one of the finest public servants this state has produced, is also predicted to lose her seat. Malappuram is going entirely to UDF, CPM's own workers are breaking rank. This moment, this scale of change deserves more than poster wars, flex boards, and leaked signals. It deserves a name. Don't you think so? I'll see you in the next one.